So how many now of you believe in my purge? Yeah. When you've got these ethnic groups and also these religious groups now blackmailing.
Yes.
That's what it is.
It is.
Blackmailing so they can hijack the elections. Hey, look, I just want to take this time to thank so many great Kiwis, New Zealanders who sent in comments all through last week when this blew up. I wanted a national conversation about mass immigration, and I did trigger it on purpose so this could happen. And it was good to see your comments. It was great knowing that there are people who care about our country, who care about our children and our grandchildren's future. I certainly do. And I was so encouraged and lifted by that. So we've got to keep going together. Stay together. It's the people. We the people is a very powerful statement. We must continue to fight back. So I'm going to pick up on a few things here that I heard from the Prime Minister, Chris Luxon himself. Man, I could not believe that it got that far.
What was your reaction to some of the comments from Brian Tamaki recently directed at several ethnic communities?
Oh, look, I've got no time for Brian Tamaki at all. You know, our ethnic communities have come to this country, have left everything behind, their language, their family, their communities. They come here, they work damn hard, they take 1, 2, 3 jobs, get a deposit for a business or a house, and I am a huge supporter of our immigrant Kiwis that have come to New Zealand. They've chosen to come here because they think they can build a better future. So, frankly, I'm not interested in anything Brian Tamaki says.
Yeah, part of those comments included attacks on the India FTA. How do you feel about that FTA being a vehicle for that kind of rhetoric?
Well, I just don't listen to Brian Tamaki, for God's sake.
Now, isn't it interesting what he says in that question? I just actually couldn't hardly believe it, Jen. And I think a lot of people in New Zealand were a bit caught out too that the Prime Minister would be fronted with my name. I think him and he had on his side his finance minister, Nicola Willis. Yep. You should have seen the change of her face when my name came from that reporter.
She flinched.
She could have killed the reporter, and she flinched. You could see it. She held herself, but she flinched. Now, I believe he has spoken some things from out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So what he has said is what's really in him, because he got to a point, what I believe, was frustration and anger.
Brian Tamaki, for God's sake. I mean, do we think he's got anything useful to contribute to that debate? Absolutely not, in my view. So, no disrespect, but I don't take advice from people. I don't take offence from people who don't take advice from.
With that beautiful term, for God's sake, he used that. He was frustrated, wasn't he? I don't listen to Brian Tamaki. I'm not interested in what Brian Tamaki says. I think that's the line.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in what Brian Tamaki says. Well, hold on there. People are probably saying, I ain't interested in you either. What about the people, Jen? What did you find in the comments section?
Yeah, the feedback has been overwhelmingly in your favour. And it's interesting, the Kiwis are saying, I'll read out a couple of the comments they've got here. Tamaki speaks for the majority of New Zealanders, but we're too scared to say anything. New Zealand is already overrun with Indians, especially in Auckland. So that was someone by the name of Brody. We've got other people saying, like Catherine, we need to support Brian. No one else speaks up for true blue New Zealand people. There's just so many comments. This one here, Tim, I am backing Brian. It's very evident that you have struck a chord with Kiwis. They've got, this is another one, Ian. Go Tamaki, you are voicing what everyone else actually thinks, but are too gutless to speak. Donald, to be honest, I never really liked you, Brian, but lately I'm really taking a shine to you. Keep it up. I mean, there's some very, like that's a common theme. This one here from Noel, you're the most persecuted man in Aotearoa simply for his outspoken beliefs. Well, I effing agree with him. Well, most of the time. Margareta, thank you, Brian, for shining a light on these political issues. Like the comments, there's just been so many. This one from David. As I listened to this message, I was shocked and impressed at the same time. I've never heard a politician or preacher in modern times willing to call out evil like this man. political correctness and fear of consequences shuts their mouths. There's been so many comments, and majority of them are Kiwis, majority of them are in your favour. Like, I think about 90% have been Kiwis from what our analytics tell us, and majority, very, very small percentage of people that have not liked what you're saying. But the overwhelming opinion is that you are the voice for everyday Kiwis, middle New Zealand, that politicians are ignoring.
I was blown away by that, Jen, because when you see the comments, particularly so positive, and I think you said was well over 90%.
Yeah.
So if you took the numbers of people and that were represented by the comments over that, you said that I think there was something like 3 million in that short time that
we know what
and responded.
Yeah, we know what's the traffic's been on your pages, but even when we go into like when the media was reporting on what you'd said, a lot of that these ethnic communities were posting their own statements and comments, and if you go and travel into the comment sections of most of those, it was amazing how many Kiwis are supporting them.
So this bubbled to the surface what I was saying all the time, trying to get this is to the point where there was a national conversation on what I believe is the biggest problem. And I said I'd die on this hill. So, Mr. Chris Luxon, when you said I do not have any interest whatsoever in what Brian Tamaki is saying, the problem here, Chris, that I was just a vehicle, a mouthpiece, a voice for literally 3 million people, working class, middle class, everyday, ordinary Kiwis that pay your wages, mate, pay the taxes of that whole dysfunctional parliament. You just dissed us. You gave us the truth out of your mouth, and this is what you said to 3 million Kiwis. I don't care what you say. And I believe you gave away a real clanger. This has got to sink, that ship down in Wellington called Parliament, because really our politicians, you're saying, are silent to Kiwis, and yet in the very next statement you said, though, that you care for migrants. You care for all these immigrants. That's what you said. I'm not downing on them. Actually, I'm now putting my crosshairs on these politicians, the whole lot of them, this government. They're hanging them out there. They've imported them for votes. They put them in these MPs in all our regions. They're flooding this country, not just with Indians and migrants from other third world countries. They're now putting them into positions of power that they can make decisions for my future and my children and my great-grandchildren's future. That's not going to happen. We're going to fight back about this, because I'm really disgusted, Jen, that he actually said that.
It's immigrants first.
It's immigrants
and Kiwis
first.
last.
That's right.
He makes us feel like we don't even matter anymore, because every photo op, every time we see him these days, he's actually with our ethnic communities. And I think this is why, let's talk about these recent polls. That's why they're tanking in these polls.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of talk about who everyone's going to vote for. But one thing that very few people are talking about is the undecided vote.
That's right.
And that One News poll that came out this week showed that 14% of Kiwis do not know who to vote for, and that has increased by 5% since the last time they polled. They're like the forgotten portion of New Zealand, and Luxon's very clearly sending a message that he does not care about Kiwis.
New Zealand has never seen the two big parties, national. They're at their all-time historic
the
low.
Last 30 years they haven't been this low, the two main parties.
Our politicians at Parliament is getting purged. It's actually getting purged right now. And can I tell you that word purge I got was from the scriptures in 2 Chronicles, chapter 34, and verse 1 and 2. That's where it originated from. I don't have to be or try and be controversial. Just read the scriptures and it happens. It dropped. That word purge, it took off in this country. Purge is stronger than remigration. Purge is stronger than even deportation. Purge means you get to the root and you clean all the impurities and the undesirable things that are in there or a part of our country in this case. It is a fantastic word to be using. But I'm feeling like this, Jen, and I'm going to share my heart here. I actually don't want to vote any of these parties or these politicians. That's the truth. I've never been like that. I don't want, look, we only have power one day. One day we have power. That's the actual voting day. Your vote is the only time you have power. Every other time, as soon as you put that power and vote it, politicians will take the power back off the people. And I remember a statement, I think it came from Donald Trump. He said the 3 greatest words found in the Constitution of the United States of America is these 3 words. We the people. The most powerful words on earth, he said. And he even said that I didn't come into power to have power for me or the politicians. He said I came into power to give the power back to where it belongs, to the people. Wow. I don't think I can really say honestly here that I've seen in any time in our parliament that the power has been with the people.
That's right.
The power has been with the politicians.
That's all they talk about is themselves.
There's this in the news.
And
it's always about politicians.
They don't care about the real issues that are facing everyday Kiwis. And I think most Kiwis are begging, longing for them to actually start addressing some of the issues that matter to them, like immigration, like the cost of living. But they're very clearly telling us all they do not listen and that they do not care about what everyday Kiwis, they know better.
I just want New Zealanders to see that they are really, hoodwinked and bewitched by a type of politician that they keep voting for. And that's that class of people, the intellectual, the CEO, the ex-CEO who hasn't been living in New Zealand for a long time and comes back. Just like the Opportunity Party.
Yeah, she's an
Party.
Interesting character.
Yeah,
she's only just come back into New Zealand in 2022 and already she is, showing signs that everyone's pumping her up that they want her to be the kingmaker.
Now look at this. She's part Chinese. I won't hold that to it. It's just this immigration thing. But she comes in, like you said, Jen, from overseas doing a stint.
She's been living overseas for about 9 years in London.
Why are Kiwis enamoured by someone like Luxon that turns up from being overseas?
Yeah.
He looks the part. I don't know what it is. There's a look that Kiwis, they get seduced by and they vote.
Yes.
I'm a true blue patriot. When I say patriot, I love my country. I want Kiwis to be put first. I want my 5-generational family to grow up in New Zealand, not Indianised New Zealand, not an Islamic New Zealand, and not a Pakistani New Zealand, and not a nothing foreign that's actually dictating our political institution, telling us how to be Kiwis, telling us how our religion should be and shouldn't be. Do you see the cheek of these guys? This is the ethnic communities. They all came out. They all came out to play actually last week when I said a couple of home truths. And truth is what matters. And facts.
They all keep trying to preach diversity. But the interesting thing is, India themselves, there's no diversity in their government whatsoever. Like there's no non-Indians in their parliament. 100% of them are Hindu. And then they are trying to preach to us that we have to have all this diversity in New Zealand and come on, Brian, you've got to be more diverse. And what do you think about these foreigners that are making their way into our parliament? Because Modi doesn't allow them.
Well, I don't believe any foreigner should be in parliament. If you're a foreigner, you cannot be in our parliament. In fact, if you're not born in New Zealand, you shouldn't be in our parliament. This is something I can't understand. Why we're letting the whole world get into our parliament easy. You all get mad at me. I got no political ambition. I just want to see New Zealand stay in New Zealand and for my kids to have a future here. But what a mess.
And look at those ethnic communities you were talking about. They notice how one of those letters that they'd all signed, that they were leveraging their position now as 18.4% of the voting bloc
Right.
of New Zealand, saying,
put this
we're
in.
giving you an ultimatum, Luxon, and all of the political parties, you better look after us and you better sort out Brian, because we are 18.4% of the voting bloc now. Now they're starting to assert their power on us. And but should these foreigners be allowed to vote so easily in our democracy?
So how many now of you believe in my purge? When you've got these ethnic groups and also these religious groups now blackmailing,
Yes.
that's what it is.
It is.
Blackmailing so they can hijack the elections. And they're doing it front out in the media.
Well, they're saying that in our temples and in our mosques, we're going to be instructing our people on how to vote. That's the ultimatum.
That's what I talk about. It's these mosques and temples are not places of worship.
Yeah.
They are places of organisation, mobilisation, and how to overtake or take over our country. Now, listen to what's been said by Jen is true. The gurus are actually in charge of these voting blocks. And this is how they work it. The guru will tell them which party or which candidate to vote for. So when they say they've got 18.4% and they are threatening, this is in the news, this is not hidden any longer, threatening this country that they're going to hijack our elections. And don't put it past our stupid politicians to actually come under that hijacking. And again, we don't matter. Your votes don't matter. They don't care about you. They just care about this immigrant vote, which they have been importing for a long time. So
what are
we going to do about that, though?
Yeah, well,
what are you going to do about that?
One of those names, Mr. Singh from the Supreme Sikh Society.
Of course it's Mr. Singh.
He is... he has been convicted of electoral fraud here in New Zealand. Yet he's putting his name as one of the spiritual leaders that's daring to call you out and give an ultimatum to our politicians. He's been convicted.
All the hypocrisy has been going along.
One of the latest ones that came out was the Pakistani community here in New Zealand. But do you know what's frustrating? If you were to think about what we were talking about last week with child brides and even the rape gangs and everything that is happening in the UK, where is the Islamic, Association of New Zealand? Where is the Pakistani community? Where is their condemnation of what's happening over in the UK? Because they were Muslim, they were Pakistani. So instead of attacking you, they'd actually be, well placed to actually be writing letters and saying, we condemn what we see taking place. Yes, we don't agree with that. No, they're more focused on trying to deflect and trying to take the limelight away from those issues that are very real, human rights violations, and trying to make you out to be a racist or trying to make you out to be that you're hateful, deflecting from the real issues. But what do you think about that? Well,
first of all, to be a patriot is not to be a racist. And this is what they're getting confused with. I'm not a racist at all. This is not about people's colour or whatever, but they're not helping themselves by committing crimes and rapes and not respecting the country, the host country they're supposed to be assimilating in. So you can't help for Kiwis jumping up and down and saying, hey, I want to protect my country, keep New Zealand, New Zealand. This ain't about racism. It's about preservation. It's about patriotism. So that does away with this whole racist thing. That's not the issue. The second thing you accuse me of is hatred, right, Jen? That's hatred. They say I'm a hater. To hate is not to be confused with defending and keeping your country safe so that your children and grandchildren again have a future without the dangers of people who have the propensity for crime, rape, murder, and all of these other things. So hate speech now is something used against people like me who tell the truth directly down the tube like I'm doing now. When I tell you the truth, that ain't hate speech.